marketing manager here at Socedo. Our Twitter handle is just @Socedo, so feel free to follow along with us. We're also using the hashtag Socedo Live today. So if you do have any questions during our Socedo Live, you can just jump on in. And today we're talking about the first steps to using Twitter for prospecting. And I'm coming at you in beautiful Seattle. I want you to see this, because we just recently moved offices to downtown Seattle. Look at this. This is what I look at all day long, except when I'm looking at Twitter. So what I want to talk to you first about is how to actually set up your Twitter in order to do prospecting, find leads from Twitter, and then how to craft messages, how to reach out to people and bring them into your marketing funnel so you can actually convert leads from Twitter, from social media. So it all starts with setting up your profile. Now, there's two main real big pieces of your Twitter profile. And when you're doing prospecting, it's best to use a more professional Twitter profile. So you can either use the one for your business, which will get a lot of follow backs, or you can use the one from someone in your company, maybe from your own, maybe your head of marketing, maybe even your CEO. Or you can use multiple from your company as well. Use all of your employees. That's what we do here at Socedo. But we want to craft really professional profiles so that people will actually want to engage with us and have a business conversation. So the first piece of it, of course, is the bio itself. Now the key word here is be helpful. I see far too many bios that say, "Hi, I'm the marketing manager at this company, and I love dogs and the Seahawks." Well, that's great, but guess what? So do a lot of people in Seattle. Trust me, everyone loves dogs and the Seahawks. That's not super interesting to me as a prospect. What I care about is what you're doing at your company and why that's helpful. Why should I even care about this? So for example, at Socedo, our bios talk about, hey, I'm this employee at this company, and we're helping businesses generate leads from social media. We're helping turn social actions into real revenue. Those types of helpful statements are actually much more engaging to a prospect than just listing what you do and what you're interested in. I know our CEO, Asim, he really likes to talk this up. Even on his LinkedIn, he doesn't even talk about Socedo as a company, the description of what we do. He talks about it, what we help businesses do. We help them find, engage, and accelerate leads using social data. And that's his description on LinkedIn. So it really makes a huge difference. And he has one of the biggest follow back rates at our company. Now the next piece of this is, of course, posting. And the key here is to do it frequently. Again, I see a lot of businesses or employees at businesses that are representing their companies that only tweet about 1 or 2 times a day. And that's just not enough. Really what you need to be doing is tweeting consistently so that people can get your content, they see it live when they're actually logged into Twitter, and they see it over time. So when someone new visits your profile, they can actually see this big stream of things that you've been posting and know what you're interested in, and also maybe see a variety as well. Now, I have a little rule, a little trick that I used to use. It's called, oh, I already messed it up. It's called the 5-3-2 rule, which means for every 10 posts on your Twitter profile, 5 of them should be about your content. So blog posts from your company, a new white paper that you released, an article that you've been mentioned in, something like that. 3 of them should be related pieces of content for your industry. So things like a blog post from another company that's in your space, maybe a partner of yours, maybe an industry article about the top 10 tools in this industry. Maybe it's some updates about recent company news, or maybe it's a white paper that someone else wrote that doesn't necessarily talk about you, but it's still relevant to what you have to say. So that way it shows other interests beyond just your own product. You can also cover this through retweeting, right? People don't want to just see a big long list of things that you've been posting over and over and over again, because that's pretty monotonous. But if you're retweeting things, posting other things, replying to people, then you could start to see some variety in your news stream. It actually looks a lot more interesting. And the final 2 is more like relatable type tweets, right? What are the types of things that you're doing in your life that make you relatable? It could still be job related, right? I love Marketo. People know that. They call me Mr. Marketo. And I post all the time. I do, Marketo's making me mad again, hashtag thanks Marketo. Stuff like that. I get pretty nerdy about it. Other people tweet about the food that they're eating, right? We have one employee here, Damien, he's our senior sales manager. He just takes a picture of food and just puts it out there. He doesn't even write anything, and people love it. People like it, tweet it, retweet it. It's crazy. People like to see that you're a human being and you're interacting with people. So have a little bit of fun on your Twitter profiles as well. And it's true to your company, right? Post pictures of your amazing view from your new office. Post interesting milestones about your company, what's going on around the office. That'll make people a lot more likely to actually follow you back and engage with you. All right, so that's posting. And again, if you have any questions about what we're talking about as we go along, remember hashtag Socedo Live, and my colleague Tina is going to be looking at questions as we go along. Now, the next piece that's really important beyond just setting up your own Twitter profile is actually finding the people that you want to engage with. Now, one thing you could do is you could just scroll through Twitter and find people that are tweeting related things and start to reach out to them. You could, search for everyone who's a marketing manager at a company and, see all those bios that come up on Twitter and start to engage with them. You could buy a list from somewhere and just proactively reach out to all of them. Or you could be a lot more relatable and contextual to your leads. And it all comes down to keywords. Keywords help us engage with our prospects in real time. So what we do actually here at Socedo in order to find prospects is we listen for a big group of keywords and anyone who might be tweeting those to know that they might be interested in what we have to say. And there's two types of keywords that we think about. There's profile keywords or bio keywords, and there's conversational. And together they help us find our prospects. So what we actually do as a platform is we listen for everyone who's tweeting something related to us, like hashtag lead generation. We'll pull out all those people and then we filter down based on who they are. So do they have marketing job titles or sales job titles? Are they describing themselves as a social media manager at a company in their Twitter profile? If so, and they're tweeting something relevant, they could be a good prospect for us. If they're not, if they're maybe a student or intern at a company, we probably don't really want to engage with them, and so we're just wasting our time and our resources by reaching out to them. So we listen for people who are interested in things we have to say and are actually a good fit for our content and our business. Now, once we've found these people, again, we could just reach out to them, send them a tweet. We could find their contact info using some kind of sale hack thing and then call them down, or we could actually be a good resource to them. So what we like to do is have a light, medium, heavy touch of kind of a small nurture on social media. So first what we do is we take a light touch. We follow them. We follow them on Twitter to let them know that we're interested in them. It also gets us on their radar. It pings them, people have notifications turned on, they'll see that a couple of times. Then we'll start to engage with them. So we'll actually like a tweet. We'll pick a relevant tweet that had that topic, that keyword that was related to us, and we'll go ahead and like that tweet on Twitter. And what that does is, again, it pings us on their radar, it gives them another interaction with our brand handle, and it lets them know that we actually care about them. We're engaging with them. We don't just want to spam them. And finally, when they follow back, we'll do a heavy touch, or we'll send them a direct message. So once two people are following on Twitter, we actually can send them private messages and so that they can get more content, or it's not just contained in a tweet, and it can be relevant to them. Our product does this automatically. So once someone follows you back on Twitter who you proactively followed, you can send them a direct message that includes a link to a piece of content. And this direct message has to be helpful, right? So we like to think of a few things. We want to have context. So, hey, I saw your tweet on lead generation. I wanted to reach out with you. Give them a piece of content. I thought you might be interested in this white paper, this new webinar we have coming up. And then send them that link to a landing page so that way they can fill out a form and get into your marketing system. This is a huge piece of it. If you're just sending someone a thanks for following kind of tweet, they're not really inspired to take any action. Even if you just link to your homepage, that's not very helpful. They don't know what to do. But if you give them a specific piece of content within the context that they were tweeting about, they're a lot more likely to actually engage with you, fill out that form, and then you can follow up with them. Which brings me to the final piece of our Socedo Live today, is the follow-up. Ooh. This is the most important piece of anything I'm ever going to talk about ever on Twitter. Follow up with your leads. Too many people all the time, I see this all the time. People send a lead a tweet or a direct message, it has a link in it, they expect them to convert, and then just buy their product right away. That doesn't happen. People need multiple touches, and in fact, industry averages have shown that it takes about 10 touches on a lead across 4 different platforms in order for someone to convert. That's a lot of touches. So if you're just tweeting at someone, guess what? That's not enough if that's their first interaction. So you can follow up again on Twitter. Reach back out to them, send them more content. They're following you now, so you can give them another direct message, or they'll keep seeing your tweets. You can also find their email address. The great thing that you can do, connect with them on LinkedIn and pull their email address out. They've already connected with you on Twitter, so they're much more likely to connect with you on LinkedIn as well. If your email's there, you can send them another message, send them a longer message, send them an email with more content describing your product, asking to connect, set up a demo. Our own platform actually looks up email addresses from Twitter handles. So what we do is once we find a new follower, we look up their email address, we sync that directly into our marketing automation system, then we nurture that lead over time so that way they can convert when they're ready to use our product. Finally, we can hand these people over to a specific team member, our head of social, one of our sales development representatives, and they can find that person, they can look them up and have a one-to-one interaction. They can get on the phone with them, they can figure out what their use cases are, they can reference that other tweet, still using context, and actually convert them based on what that lead is actually interested in. So that follow-up is super important. One best practice we have is when you are following up with someone from social media specifically, you want it to be personal and light. Social is a very social platform, right? It's a very kind of light conversational medium, unlike email, unlike forums, unlike something else. So when you are following up with a lead that you found on social media, you want to make sure you're not too heavy-handed or you'll kind of scare them away. So our best practice is once we have a new follower on social, we send them an email that's just a plain text email, no more than 3 sentences, just describing a little bit more about what we do and giving them another piece of content that they can consume. They may or may not take that call to action, but now that they've connected with us, they see that we're a real person and we want to have a conversation with them, it gives us permission to continue reaching out to them. They're much more likely to convert down the line. And in fact, we've found that people who receive these emails have an average 5% click-through rate, which is much higher than our other emails. So it really does work. So that's the gist of reaching out to people on Twitter. You want to start with building that perfect Twitter profile. You can either use your brand handle or your personal handle. Make it helpful for people, talk about what you're doing, and post frequently. You can post the same content over and over again, just make sure you have a consistent cadence. Then you want to actually reach out to specific people based on what they're tweeting about, find those keywords, send them a relevant message that has context and content to it, and continue following up with your leads until they convert. Remember, people on social media have already warmed up to you. They know who you are, they had a personal interaction. So they're about 25% more likely to convert once you get them in your funnel, but you have to keep following up with them and nurture those leads.
We have a question.
Oh, I'd love a question.
Someone asked, so in your opinion, write a classic email is better than a DM?
It kind of depends, right? An email is always going to be a little bit easier to sell people than just a direct message itself. People don't like to be sold on social media, and we've seen that pretty consistently. A DM is a great way to make a first introduction. An email is a great way to actually explain your product, go a little bit deeper, and then follow up with them through that. So I recommend doing both. If you have to do one or the other, connect with them on Twitter first, and then you can send them that email. Cool. Well, this has been the first steps to using Twitter for prospecting. We do have a white paper around this topic on our website. It's also in our Twitter feed, so feel free to go ahead and download that. It explains what I did today, but just walks through it in a lot more detail. Keep asking us questions, hashtag Socedo Live, follow us at Socedo, follow me at Adam is Writing. Feel free to look up my email address and send me an email. It's just adam@socedo.com. But I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us.